have Miriam there, right? So many times in the Bible we see the male Bible characters, but just think of what Moses' life would be like without the influence of Miriam. It wouldn't be the same story, would it? So we put the 2 in the logo. You'll also see to the far right-hand side the words Gillette, Wyoming. When we change sites, locations from Oshkosh, about 5 hours north of Chicago, now we're 5 hours north of Denver. We changed it. Everybody in the logo world went crazy. Oh no, we're going to mess up the logo. Oh no, actually Oshkosh and Gillette are about the same letters, and Wyoming, and it worked perfectly. So we're excited to show you that. Let's keep going here. Maybe try again. Yep. Here's what's happened in camporees in the past, big international camporees. The first was 1985 at Camp Hale, Colorado. Anybody there? Make a noise if you were there. Okay, and you made it back home. That's great, because we lost a lot of Pathfinders there in Colorado. 85, 89 was the next one, Friendship Camporee out in Mount Union, Pennsylvania. Anybody make it there? Not as many. Okay, let's keep going. 94 was Dare to Care Camporee, Red Rocks. Everything you're there. And of course you made it. You still think that's good. And then 99 was the first time we went to Oshkosh. And you'll see our numbers, 21,000. So in Red Rocks, we filled up Red Rocks in 1994. There's no more places to sit in Red Rocks Amphitheater. And so it's about 23 countries that came to the first international camporee. Then we went to Oshkosh in 1999. We had 53 countries. If you go to 2004, you'll see it went from 21,000 to 31,000. There are very few things in our faith community that's growing like these international camporees. It's God's blessing. So you can see in 04, we had 31,000. 09, you can see, what's that, 36,000? And notice also the international participation, 72 countries in 09. You go to 2014, you'll see, what's that, 50,000 Pathfinders came together, and you'll see about 83 countries. And of course, many of you were at the last International Pathfinder Camporee in 2019, right? You were there? Yeah. And there was 105 countries that gathered together in Oshkosh. It's interesting to share with you an insight that maybe you've never thought of. The camporee in 2019 was the year right before the world shut down. Think about this. God has perfect timing. Sometimes you don't see it when you're living it, but if you reflect on it, sometimes you can see God. So if we didn't have the International Camporee in 19, but we had it in 2020, what would have happened? We would have been canceled. But no, the Lord allowed us to come together in 2019 with 55,000, 105 countries. And then He gave us some space to work through some things on the planet. And then He brings back in 2024 the next big international camporee. Isn't that beautiful timing to see what He offered us as Pathfinders? All right, well, let's show you something else. This is kind of fun. This is an aerial shot of the last camporee in 19. You can see the camping area out the back. And of course, we assembled Sabbath morning. I believe you can tell this is Sabbath morning. You know how I can tell? Do you see something in the lower right-hand side?
Really?
It's the world's largest scarf. Our Boy Scout friends had the world record before this camporee, but I'm happy to report to you, after 6 months of hard work, a lot of Pathfinders in our sister conference, Texas, worked hard on it. We now have the Guinness Book of World Records. We have the largest scarf in the world. Oh, here we are again. And if you were there, that was just, the whole story. And I'm happy to report to you, Goliath is gone again. It was a David and Goliath story every night on that main stage. By the way, this is one of the largest theatrical portable stages in the world that we've put together, and we'll have another one in Gillette, Wyoming in 2024. Well, here's what happened. In 2008, a friend of mine, Vern Berg, went to people ask me, how did we get to Gillette from Oshkosh? Well, a friend of mine went to some kind of a small convention. He's walking by a booth and somebody gives him a brochure, says you need to think about bringing your event to Gillette, Wyoming. He says, thank you very much, and put it in his bag. You know how this works? And kept walking. So that was 2018. In 2020, the same guy, Vern Bird's walking around my office, bored to death because it's very, everything's not moving as fast as it used to because of the whole pandemic thing. And he's walking around and he pulled this brochure out and he looks at me and says, Pastor Ron, I want to go check out Gillette, Wyoming. It looks interesting. I did a Google Maps thing. He made a pitch. And of course, we're bored with him. We said, Vern, please leave the office. And so he did. He got a friend, Barry Becker, and they went over to Gillette, Wyoming. When they went over there, it's December of 2020. They actually made a presentation to Vern Bird and Barry Becker. And I guess, according to the report they brought back to the Center for Youth Evangelism right there at our seminary at Andrews University, they explained to me it's an amazing place. I mean, it offers so much options and activities and the camping and the facilities. They're all excited. And they looked at me, Barry and Vern, and they says, the grapes, the Bible analogy, the grapes are large. And we don't have to kill anybody. And so I thought they got a great sales pitch. That's what I thought they received. So I hopped the plane, want to get right out there, put this thing to bed, because we don't want any rumors going around that we're moving the camporee. You know how rumors kind of get going sometimes. So I went right out there as executive director of the camporee. I went into this room with all these people from the community. Instead of 6 to 8 people present, there was like 15 to 20. And we introduced ourselves, started talking. Every difficult question I gave them, they had an answer. Every single one. About what's the quality of your medical support for a camporee this size? What do you have a Walmart in town? Do they understand? Do you have a Taco Bell? That's very important to us. And the most important of all, is there any ice cream in town? They said, oh yeah, we got homemade ice cream. And they kept answering. We had some fun with those questions. But you might not realize this, Pathfinders, we have 100 different things, criteria that we look at that we need to bring a world camporee to a location. As we went through the list, it was amazing to us that check. I remember a gentleman to my left who was the only person in the room with a tie on. Because when you go out to the west, Wyoming, they don't wear ties out there. So one guy had a tie. And it went around the room, and what support could you offer our size Pathfinder camporee? Because we bring our world together, right? All these 105 countries. And I explained to them the quality of Pathfinders that would be coming to their community. They're all excited. And the fellow to the left with the tie on, he says, you might want to take advantage of this, but you don't have to. But I've already contacted the governor's office in our state, and I've asked the weekend uniform people, the National Guard, if they would be willing to bring some of their medical teams to supplement your 150 medical staff to help with your camporee. And they told me if you would like them to help, they'd be happy to help. And I thought to myself, ooh. Everybody go, ooh. Ooh. Everybody go, ah. Ah. See, that moment for me was like an aha moment. They get it. This is a large event. This is their Super Bowl. This is their Olympics that they're requesting to come to their city. You know how large Gillette, Wyoming is? On a good day with everybody wet, about 35,000 people. 35,000. And they want us to come with over 55,000 Pathfinders. So they're kind of, if you understand the boxing metaphor, and this community understands this, they're boxing above their weight.
Yep.
But they told us and explained to us they could accommodate us, and they can't wait to see us from all over the world. I explained to them, we have all kinds of different accents. We have all kinds of colors of wrappers. It's what I call it. And they said, we embrace that. We want your Pathfinders to come to Gillette, Wyoming. So let me just show you here. So what do? I have a small executive committee. I have the division president on it and a few other presidents from around the country. And so I brought them a T-bar to show them the comparisons between two locations. At the end of the presentation, you know what they said? They voted unanimously. We need to move west, is what they said. We need to move west. Subject to the executive committee voting support. The executive committee has 35, 40 youth leaders from all over the world. And here's where we went next. We went to the International Executive Committee, and that took place on January 26th. And when we brought this to this Zoom call, all the young adults I worked with, they had it all figured out and made the presentation. We wanted to make sure every vote was counted. And I was kind of wondering, after they saw the comparison, what would be there. Whatever they say we should do, that's what we're going to do. Unbeknownst to me, but they told me, the people in Gillette, Wyoming, who worked so hard to invite us, they said, as soon as you have a vote, please call us in Gillette, Wyoming. I said, okay, I'll do it right away. So my staff prepared 2 videos. One video announced we're going to Oshkosh, Wisconsin, and we'll see you there in 2024. But the video my young adult friends at the office couldn't wait to produce was the video that says, we're going west. Pathfinders around the world are going to gather in Gillette, Wyoming. So it came down to the presentation, it came down to a vote. It's an electronic vote. As the numbers came in, guess what happened? At the end of the voting of this large group from all over the world, and this is votes from people out of Miami and Orlando, out of Boston, Washington, D.C., New York City, that means an extra day travel to head, deeper to the west. But the vote came out at the end of the voting process. It shocked me. It just shocked me. And those in this room that you're ever a part of a committee, and it's a big decision, there's always 2 people that vote no, even if they think the decision's a good one. They're just going to vote no just because they can vote no. They just want to vote no. I don't know. But the vote, when it came in, is 100% vote. We're going to move west. We're going to go west. And that's how and that was for me a satisfying moment, because as I was praying to God, okay, God, this is your camporee. This is not anybody else's camporee. This is your camporee. What's your plan for this? To gather your young people and adults from all over. What's your plan? He made it very clear he wants the camporee to go west. So I picked up the phone, called our friends in Gillette, Wyoming. Unbeknownst to me, they had about 50, 70 people in the room waiting for my phone call. Wow. Yeah, so I told them, well, we have a vote. We have a unanimous vote. We're coming to Gillette, Wyoming. And when I said that, on the other end of the phone, you could hear like fireworks and hoops and hollers and people kicking each other. It sounded violent for a little bit. They were just so excited. I wish I had a video cam in there or something to take a picture of that. But they were thrilled at the vote and how it directed. So here's the video. I don't know if you fellas push in the back or I do it up here. You just have to tell me what to do. This is the Going West 90-second video. Oh, I'm sorry, 65 seconds it says. Here you go. Within a few minutes of the vote, this is what we put out around the world.
I can't use it.
Yeah, you have to throw some more sound. You guys got it.
Pathfinders, are you ready for some history-making news? The International Pathfinder Camporee is going west. In 2024, come play, learn, and worship at an exciting all-new location in beautiful Wyoming. Get ready for bigger and better campgrounds and facilities, new places to explore, and a whole new world of amazing off-site activities. We'll see you at the International Pathfinder Camporee. in Gillette, Wyoming.
There you go. Give a hand of applause. That's It's your camporee, our camporee, most important is God's camporee. I've met with other leaders of other denominations, other faith communities. At the last camporee in 2019, 2 other denominational leader groups came to our camporee, and we hosted them. You'd be happy to know we hosted them very kindly, showed them around backstage and some things, and they loved the evening program where we highlight a Bible story every single night, as you know. And they looked at me. I remember them explaining to me. They said they yearn for something like a camporee, like Pathfinders in their faith, in their church. And I told them, I wish you had something like Pathfinders in your faith community, because it served us so well in our communities and our churches, our young people in leadership opportunities. And so when I explained that to them and shared that with them, they said, well, I don't know if we can do this. I mean, it takes so many volunteers. I said, yes, all the adult leadership volunteer to make Pathfinders. They take vacation time to come to Gillette, Wyoming, you know, and to Oshkosh. They do whatever necessary so young people know Jesus as their best friend. That's what Pathfinders is about.
Amen.
So that's what we have, and they said, I wish we had that in our churches. I wish we had that. You know what, Pathfinders? We have that. We've been blessed as a faith community. God's given us this organization called Pathfinders. Well, looky here. This is some interesting information. I'll keep going here. The official vote, we told you about that. Campbell County is where we're going, there in Gillette, Wyoming. I gave a report to the Chamber of Commerce 3 weeks ago. All the Chamber of Commerce are business people in the community of Gillette. And when I showed them this slide, I said, here's what we found, is Gillette, Wyoming is the same today, a year after the vote, than you were, you know, the day we voted to come. In fact, there's no bait and switch going on. You understand that term, Pathfinder? Bait and switch? Oh, come. Oh, yeah, well, we can't do that anymore. We can't do that. Actually, the opposite's taking place. Gillette's opened more of the doors of activities and facilities. By the way, we're going to have a downtown parade again, which we haven't been able to have for the last 10 years. We're going to have a Pathfinder group downtown parade in addition to what we have on site at the camporee. Let me show you something else. We have a daily parade out there. Oh yeah. Here's how we know it's going really well for Gillette, Wyoming. Let me give you a few indicators. Let me just show you this right here. Typically, right now, we have 6,000 people registered for our camporee newsletter. 6,000. Guess how many people we have registered right now for Gillette, Wyoming? 22,360 people are registered. Yeah. Yeah. Say, ooh, if you can help me with that. Yeah. By the way, if you haven't registered for your newsletter, it comes out once a month. It gives you all the tips and tricks. For instance, very first time ever at an international camporee, we're going to have an orchestra just for Pathfinders. And the orchestra is actually going to audition for all over the world online. We can do that now because we figured it out pretty good. We got that figured out. Another benefit of what we're coming out of. So here, an orchestra, the giant choir of 300 voices, they'll audition online. And then, of course, they'll have rehearsals online. So you might be playing like our young people today. By the way, are we proud of our Southern Cal young people, the music we hear today? Personally, all of it was outstanding, but there's some sax players right here. I really enjoyed this. So we need you a part of the orchestra, and you get online, but make sure you get the newsletter. That's a good indication. The other thing is, right now, 2.5 years before the camporee, usually it's about 1,000 people that have registered, purchased their tickets. But you know what? As of December, this last December, the end of the month, over 2,500 are registered. Today, it's close to 3,000. That's a good indication that people are planning and they're coming to Gillette, Wyoming. You can see who's registered from the Northeast. You can see tickets sold here throughout the provinces of Canada. You can see here Columbia Union out to the east. You can see there at Lake Union, where I came from, Michigan, lower Michigan, where Andrews is, where we have snow still. You can see Mid-America Union. This is the union hosting in Gillette, Wyoming. You can see there for North Pacific, Northwest. Whoa, right here. Almost, yeah. Almost ticket sold. It's coming out Pacific Union today. Yeah. North Pacific is coming. There's, of course, Southwestern Union. Of course, Texas is revving up. They bring over 13,000 Pathfinders just out of Texas. What they have going there. Oh, Southern Union, of course, is coming. And, yeah, the Guinness, yeah, well, we can tell you about that. I'm going to keep going. Let's don't watch me. Let's keep going. You don't have to say it. You can see it online. We do little videos introducing you to all the people in Gillette, like the bicycle shop person, or the person that runs the ice cream shop. We interview the young adult that runs that, and all kinds of interviews. You'll see it on the website, camporee.org. Last summer, we thought maybe 50, 70 people would come to the in-person tour. We had over 200 show up, which you heard a report today about. So we were real pleased with that. We already heard about Walmart. They're excited. The Walmart that sells the most product in the world was in Oshkosh last night. These people want to be the #1 Walmart in the world also. They have some amazing plans. By the way, brand new for the camporee is going to be a farmer's market of fresh produce on site at the camporee itself, so you can pick up things at home. So you chef people, you know. By the way, Walmart is going to sponsor the Top Club Chef. It's kind of a knockoff from the TV show Top Chef. We give these cartoon-like big medallions. Each conference is going to identify one chef to represent your conference, and we'll have some friendly competition, give away these big medallions. Walmart sponsoring that, so we'll stay for it. Talked about the farmers market. Habitat for Humanity, we might be building a house before we arrive. Told you about the orchestra, the world record events. Wow, there's so much more I want to tell you. I'll end with this story before we make a transition into giving you a report from the Pathfinders in Ukraine and also Russia. This is a country called Mongolia. Mongolia partnered with the Georgia Common Conference, which is in Georgia, East Tennessee. And for several years, Pathfinder leaders and young people went to Mongolia to teach and train them how to have Pathfinder clubs. They didn't have resources, so they helped give them some uniforms, some flags, some resources, some pledge of law, kind of things. So they've been, for about 5-6 years, they've been investing in Mongolia. At the last camporee in 2019, the conference raised the money and hosted. You know how that works. You can host Pathfinders from all over the world. Just provide them a tent and just put more water in the soup and you're ready to go. That's how that works. But they can't travel with tents and equipment, so they need you, local clubs, to host them. So Georgia Common hosted all these Pathfinders, adults and young people, that came from Mongolia. It was a great experience for Georgia Common Conference and for the country of Mongolia. You can kind of see where it is. At the Chamber of Commerce meeting 3-4 weeks ago in Gillette, Wyoming, let me tell you what happened. In this part of the presentation, I said to all these business people from Gillette that wants to support you, Pathfinders, to be there in Gillette, I made a presentation that I converse with. I get about 180, 230 emails a day. I have some staff that help me with that. But there's one email I don't want to miss from a young person, a Pathfinder in Mongolia. And, hey, Pastor Ron, it's me again. And we'll talk a little bit back and forth. And I like talking to him. And he explained to me, and I shared with the Chamber of Commerce, that every single day, except his worship day, he is polishing shoes so he can come to Gillette with me. Every single day. That's his goal. He wants to be with you. He wants to penetrate with you. He wants to worship with you. He'd love to eat with you. He's working for years, he's polishing shoes. And I explained that to the chamber, the business people that was before me just a few weeks ago. At the end of my presentation, I stepped down from where I was presenting, and everybody's so nice. It's a very friendly community. community. You're going to love that community and what they're doing to support us. And I was chatting, and this one county commissioner comes right up to me, almost in my face. It was a little odd. Of course, that part of the world, different places around the world, masks are in or out, but they don't wear masks much. So he comes right up to me, looks at me, and says, that young man from Mongolia. I said, yeah, isn't that inspiring to hear how he's planning to come to your community in July? He says, I want to sponsor that young man. I want to sponsor him. That's bad. He looks at me and says, how much did that cost me? I said, I have no idea. So I threw him a big number thinking that might slow down his enthusiasm. He said, no problem. I'll take care of that. And so you know, there's a phrase that you might understand, you might not, but let me offer it to you. Some Pathfinder leaders says, oh, it's too far, it's too expensive, do this, do this. You know what? Money follows vision. If you have a vision, a clear vision, a destiny for your life, for your club, for what you want to accomplish, money will follow that. Don't worry about the money. Just be clear about what you're trying to accomplish and why you're trying to accomplish it. And people will get behind it. It'll happen. I've seen it over and over. And of course, this Nick's Camporee, we have this little video. It's the third package down. I'm going to call it audible for our audio-visual people. They're all young adults, so they can handle it. It's that third video package. It's the one that was just put together yesterday, just for this meeting. And I think it's coming up right now. It's their third video package now. See what you think of this. No one's seen it in the world. We haven't polished it, but yeah, it's about 60 seconds. You're going to like it. This is going to be fun. This is the new marketing video.
Pathfinders, get ready for the biggest international camporee ever. Join 60,000 Pathfinders at an all-new location in Wyoming. In 2024, get ready for bigger campgrounds, more world records, special events, and incredible new activities. Join Pathfinders from all over the world and participate in daily parades, trade pins, earn honors, witness inspiring live evening programs featuring the story of Moses, and most of all, grow closer to Jesus Christ. Don't miss the 2024 International Pathfinder Camporee in Gillette, Wyoming.
Moses gives a little, did you see that? Did you see it? Did you see it? Okay. I told the producers we met at the production meeting this week, I wanted to go, whoa, whoa. Do you agree?
Yeah.
And I want a little smile on it, a little smile on it, as he's talking about believe the promise, believe the promise. And we'll tell you more about that maybe at another time, the theme, how to impact your life. But I have a report for you from our Pathfinders in Ukraine, and also in Russia. It was, I'm going to skip this because I'm going to tighten it down to, I'm going to let that go. Thank you, guys. By the way, can we give a hand of applause to our AV people? We're live. You know, I can tell the young adults are running the PA system because you can actually hear the music. I love that. They pushed it on up. Love that. Thank you for your support today. Here's what's going on. Years ago in 1989, 1990, a group of Pathfinders got with me and says, we need to go to the Soviet Union and start Pathfinder clubs. This was before Glasnost. This is before Gorbachev. This was when the red flag and the sickle was still in Ukraine and Russia were one country. So we decided, we got our passports, we worked it out. A bunch of young people, myself, we went over to the former, what's called Soviet Union. And at that time, Russia and Ukraine were one country. So we started Pathfinder Club. So we started teaching and training them how to have these youth clubs, these youth called Pathfinders. And we had to adapt because uniforms, our kind of uniforms in that part of the world would not work so well. You understand what I'm saying here? It just connected, this uniform connected to something. So we had to adapt and come up with a uniform that kind of worked there in Moscow and over in Kiev, which is, in Odessa, and many different places around Ukraine. So we met with the young people. We talked to them about how to run BBS, how to run Pathfinder Club. It was a great time. And the borscht, you know what I'm talking about? Anybody in the room know what borscht is? A few of you? Huh? It is good stuff. Especially in the wintertime when it's cold out. That's when we were there, 1989, December.